It's a special night here on River Valley Touchdowns. Welcome in. I'm Mark Freeman.
I'm Brad Caldwell.
We had a good night of local high school football and a good time with Pottsville, as you just saw there tonight, as Drake Manus, the miracle, the walking miracle, took the field tonight with the Pottsville seniors. And that really is it's going to overshadow the whole show and everything that went on tonight, as there are playoff seeds, and we'll talk about every one of these games tonight, Brad. But, man, that was just a really special event to be a part of.
Man, I got a chance to film him as he got off the I'm writing stuff down. It's a crazy night. But just got a chance to film him as he's coming off the helicopter, being able to be that close. No kidding. I was able to go to Lamar after we got done filming that, and I had just electricity just running through me for a long time, man. It was such an incredible moment. It really was a moment that a lot of people just don't get to have.
Yeah,
it's pretty awesome.
Well, in his situation, a lot of people wouldn't be alive, or wouldn't have had the ability to make it through. But that's a walking miracle. So we'll talk more about tonight's Feel Right Autoplex Player of the Week. We're going to go ahead and give that to you right now. Later on tonight, we're going to talk in greater detail about Drake Manus, who, for those of you that don't know, he was in an accident in the summer, broke his neck diving into a swimming pool, and had some really bad, paralysis. They were afraid he was never going to walk again.
There was a time they didn't know if he was going to live.
Yeah. Just a scary time. Not only did he live, not only is he not paralyzed, but he walked on the field tonight for the Pottsville Apaches and just gave them a lift they needed. They got a win, but we'll talk more about that later on. We're going to talk with Coach Rust about that here in just a little bit, about 10:25. We're also going to talk with Coach Jeff Weaver of the victorious Russell Cyclones at 10:40, and then Coach Scott Poteet from Hector at 10:45. But we'll talk about all those games in greater detail later on. Let's first take a look at tonight's Brangus Steakhouse scoreboard. Last night we had a few games that took place, Brad, and we were able to get some highlights from those we'll show later on. But Atkins took down Two Rivers 45-0. You were at that game?
Yes, I was.
That's about all there is to say about that one, huh?
There's just not much to say. Atkins did what they were supposed to do. Two Rivers, of course, we've got highlights of it, so we'll talk about it a little bit. But, Two Rivers, I think they did a little bit more than what they did the year before. So
yeah, scored 30 points last week.
Scored 30 points and, 42 for the season. So you got to take little steps with Two Rivers.
Danville got a 41-0 win over Perryville last night. And then Dover, in a thriller, turned out to be one of the best games of the weekend in general, was a 46-42 win over Waldron last night. So we kind of had the games broken up from night to night. And then tonight, Morrilton got a 42-21 win over my Panthers. Jacoby Criswell looking pretty good in that one. We'll get some numbers and some stats from both teams on that. Appreciate the Morrilton folks for sending that in. Dardanelle fell 28-14 to Mena. We've got some conspiracy theories about that one. We'll talk about that one later on. Hector won 26-22 over Mountainburg to win the conference championship tonight.
Oh, man.
That's a nice one.
And the thing about that game was that Mountainburg, now they did win the conference championship for the first time in school history, but it was a chance to win outright, and Hector spoiled that tonight. Did big things for Hector tonight. Big things.
We'll talk about playoff seedings and that kind of thing after that later on in the show. Tonight, Charleston with a 31-6 win over Lamar. That's probably the most disappointing game of the night for our local teams, because Lamar, coming off that tough loss against Boonville last week, was not able to bounce back against Charleston. Charleston's had a rough season, but they're Charleston. I mean, they're always good, and Lamar just hates them. I mean, I heard all week about how they just want to beat Charleston. They just want to beat Charleston. Yeah. Well, it looks like Boonville got them twice. I don't know if it was about the physicality of the game last week, the emotional letdown from going from undefeated to having that loss. But Charleston got them 31-6 tonight. The Russellville Cyclones, that's a big win for them on the season there. 30-16 win over Siloam Springs, and then Pottsville in our St. Mary's Regional Health System game of the week with a 41-20 win over Subiaco. We try to keep it sort of quiet, Brad, about the Drake Manus thing. We wanted to let that surprise happen just like they wanted it to. But Drake being picked up by the same people who picked him up the night of his accident. The very same pilot, the same crew, the same ambulance people were there when we were over there at the airport, and they were meeting. They said, "Man, we didn't know if we'd ever see you again, let alone see you like this." And so he's standing there talking to him. It was an emotional night, and that's why, you know, tonight went the way it did as far as Game of the Week, Player of the Week, those types of things. But it was a special night for Pottsville, and that's not meaning to overshadow, Brad, some of the good things that these other teams did.
Yeah, I agree.
It's hard not to, though.
It really is hard not to. It's just a special thing. I mean, it just was a special thing to be a part of. And we will talk about everybody and talk about them in depth, and we're going to talk about playoffs. But, man, you're talking about a kid that has overcome all of these obstacles, you know, and it's unbelievable. So let me say this to the crowd right now that's watching. Hit that share button and get it out there for everybody. We're talking about Drake. Of course, we're talking about your team as well. I would say this is going to be one of our better shows. Get everybody involved with us if you don't mind.
Yeah, we've got lots of help. We really appreciate all our sponsors. We'll talk about them here in just a little bit. But I'm really thankful for all the people who help us put the show together. When you see the show tonight, if this is your first time to ever watch, you'll see lots of highlights. And there's only a few of us that actually work for River Valley Now and RVTDs who are doing this, you know, as part of a job. The rest of these people, like Bill Harshaw, are doing this just for the fun of you know, being out there and being a part, and just to pitch in because they love their school. Bill has actually covered 2 games for us this week, and we have on occasion we have Tara Freeman from Dardanelle. We have different people who will pitch in. Michelle Storment is our breaking news coordinator for River Valley Now, and she's out all the time. She doesn't have to do this, but she's out helping us. She's got some highlights tonight that you're going to want to see. Brad does his. I normally do some more highlights as well. So we've got quite a bit of stuff coming your way. We're going to take our first break, and when we get back, we're going to talk about tonight's St. Mary's Regional Health System Game of the Week. But as always, tonight's show is brought to you by Phil Wright Autoplex. Phil Wright Autoplex is the premier Chevy, Buick, GMC, and Toyota dealership in the River Valley. They've been serving Russellville and the River Valley since 1975, offering the best selection of cars, trucks, and SUVs, along with service after the sale. Located at 3300 East Main here in Russellville. Go see Danny Hibbs and his team, or call him at 968-1555, or shop online at philwrightautoplex.com. Don't forget to ask about this month's specials and rebates. We're going to go to our first break. When we come back, we'll have our Game of the Week. A proud supporter of the Russellville Cyclones and all the local student athletes who make sports in the River Valley so great, Randy Adkins of Adkins & Associates wants to wish the best of luck to all the local teams and say, Go Cyclones!
Brangus Steakhouse is a locally owned business serving the River Valley and visitors since 1995. Offering steaks, ribs, chicken, burgers, and salads, there's something for everyone. Brangus is proud to serve only choice steaks and offers a kids menu as well as daily specials. Check them out on Facebook by searching Brangus Steakhouse. And if you're up for a real challenge, see if you can tackle the 4-pound steak, which is free if you can eat it within an hour. Brangus Steakhouse, open Monday through Saturday at 1509 East Main in Russellville.
Make that short drive to Russellville and see why so many people are buying the right way. At Phil Wright Autoplex in Russellville, hurry in for incredible savings like up to $12,000 off the 2018 GMC Yukons and up to $8,000 off the 2018 GMC Acadias. Ride in comfort in the GMC 2018 Terrains with up to $7,500 off. Hurry in for $14,500 off the 2018 GMC Sierras. Phil Wright Autoplex is the right place to buy, and there's a reason why we've been awarded the best auto dealership in the area for up to 9 years straight. Exit 84, just off 540, Russellville.
Welcome back into River Valley Touchdowns. Tonight's St. Mary's Regional Health System Game of the Week. The Pottsville Apaches got a 41-20 win over Subiaco. As we mentioned, the game was kind of a sideshow to the rest of the night with Drake coming in and that just being a special moment. But Pottsville was able to get a win. We're going to talk with Coach Brian Rust here in a little bit. He's actually eating dinner right now, so we're going to let him have his time. We'll call him back after a while. But Brad, Pottsville was able to get a playoff spot, was able to earn a win that really meant a lot for him.
Yes, they were. And, Pottsville had an opportunity to move up into the standings, but it wasn't because they didn't win tonight that they didn't get a chance to move up. It was some things that went on around them. Pottsville will go into the playoffs as the 5th seed out of the 4. The 4th conference this year really proved to be a pretty tough conference. I mean, Pottsville is a pretty good football team, and they're going in as the 4th seed. But again, the story of the night obviously is Drake Manus and his just being there and being part of senior night and on the field, and that was a surprise to everybody. And of course, I'm sure that this team was energized and ready to win for Drake.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering about. I knew that I heard today that they had a press, not a press conference, a pep rally that was. It was a little bit of a surprise that he was there today, and they said that the crowd, the school, the students, were all just super jacked. So I wondered if that kind of carried over, and I saw Pottsville score very early on. I was on my way out to try to get to the other game, and unfortunately I missed it. But Pottsville had already scored within a minute or two, and I know part of that probably was because Subiaco was just not very good, and the other part is that Pottsville, man. They had a little extra juice tonight, had a little extra energy.
Oh, yeah.
I can't blame them, man. I mean, I can't even imagine how I would harness all that. And that's another thing that the coaches probably deserve a lot of credit for. On a night like this, when it's senior night, it's kind of like homecoming. A lot of times there are a lot of distractions. You have to stand in line for 30 minutes with your parents to get this football, and where am I going? What am I doing? What's up next? And then you kind of lose track of the game. Fortunately, you're playing a team you're supposed to beat, and you shouldn't have a whole lot of trouble with. But, for the coaches to be able to keep this team on track and to do what they were supposed to do, that was a good win for Pottsville.
Absolutely. Good win for Pottsville. Now, let's not forget that Pottsville actually lost to Subiaco last year. So, I mean, as much as we want to say, well, this was going to be an easy win, this was a game that was a little bit of a revenge game.
Yeah.
Pottsville, if the story is right, I wasn't following as much last year, but I believe Pottsville took a 21-0 lead on Subi. Subi come back and beat them.
Wow.
And if I'm not mistaken, it actually kept them out of the playoffs. So Pottsville now moves on. They will move on. And I'm actually efforting this right now, trying to figure out who they play. You probably know before I do, and if you comment, let us know. But we're trying to figure out who they play right now. But Pottsville is in the playoffs, so get your dancing shoes on.
Absolutely. All right, let's look at these games from last night, Brad, because we're going to talk with some of these coaches here in a little bit, so we're kind of jumping around just a little bit. But we had 42-0 win by Atkins over Two Rivers. You were at that game. Dover 46-42 winner over Waldron last night, and then Danville with the 41-0 win over Perryville. So let's start with the Atkins game, because I know you were at that game and you got to get some eyes on that one. Obviously, Two Rivers struggled throughout the year. They scored 30 points last week, so that was a huge deal for them. I know they lost, but they were able to score more points last week than they scored all last year and all this year leading up to this game last week. So Two Rivers trying to look up, but Danville Atkins was bouncing back off some tough losses, and so they were able to get things going back the right direction. And man, that playoff matchup that's looking like Atkins and Lamar, that's going to be a tough one for Lamar coming off 2 straight losses. So I'm going to be very interested to see how that playoff matchup works out. And Brad, give me a little bit on the Atkins Two Rivers game last night. I know 42-0. There's probably just not a whole heck of a lot to talk about, but you probably saw some things from Atkins you liked.
Well, the thing was about Atkins was let's rewind back to 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Even 3 weeks ago. So Atkins is 6-0. Okay,
yeah.
They're flying high. They're ranked in the top 10 by Hootens, and everybody's just feeling good about the Red Devils. And then all of a sudden they go to Danville and they get beat 27-6 or 26-7, whatever it was. And it just set them back. And then you come back against Mayflower, and Mayflower is just, man, they just run all over them, and then before you know it, they get beat 52-6 on their home field. I would love to go back into the history of the Atkins Red Devils and try to figure out the last time they got beat that bad on their home field. Then you turn around last week, nobody's giving them a shot against Glen Rose. Glen Rose is one of the better teams in the 3A. They had already beaten Danville by a pretty good margin. They had already beaten Mayflower by a pretty good margin. And then all of a sudden, here comes the Atkins Red Devils with a fourth-quarter lead against the Glen Rose Beavers. Now, it wouldn't have done anything for them as far as their standings go. They would have been in the 4th seed no matter what they did. But Atkins really showed themselves to be the team that we thought that they were. So here they are now. They just basically did what they were supposed to do against Two Rivers. They beat them. And so now, like you said, there is a huge playoff game looming. And, as far as what we do and as far as who that we cover, of course, we love the Russellville Cyclones are right here. We love all of our teams. Probably as far as what we do, there's no bigger matchup than that matchup next week for us.
Absolutely. And, Lamar, it's just two teams going in different directions right now because Lamar's lost 2 in a row. Granted, 2 of the best teams in their, entire state in that classification. Year in and year out, Boonville and Charleston are 2 of the best teams in the area. But for Lamar to go 8-0 and then fall these last 2 weeks, that's going to be a tough hill to climb for them to bounce back against Atkins after Atkins has kind of figured out who they were,
right,
gotten their bell rung a few times and been able to bounce back. So, man, if I'm a Lamar fan, I'm probably a little leery of that matchup, even though they'll be the higher seed.
Yeah, I would be too if I was Lamar. But, man, it's going to be an interesting matchup because Lamar has been a good team all year long. They came into last week 8-0. I think that they showed themselves pretty decently against Boonville. But at the end of the day, they weren't able to beat Boonville. And I don't know if Boonville beat them twice. We've seen that a lot with Boonville.
Yeah.
Boonville beats teams twice. It's kind of like playing Alabama. They beat you twice. You get beat by them the first time, and then you're so beat up against them the next time you can't beat them.
Yeah.
But Boonville really, I think, rocked Lamar's world. Charleston came in, dude. They were ready to go. And it showed. Now, Lamar was able to get a lead against Charleston, but Charleston, came out. Well, I'll tell you, it was 6-3. I'm pulling into the parking lot after the Drake Manus deal at Pottsville, and it was like all of a sudden the switch got flipped, and before you know it, it went from 6-3 Lamar to right here.
Oh no!
Right here. The game pretty much changed right there. Lamar was down 10-6, and they were driving. They throw that pick, and then Charleston is able to score a touchdown right here on this play right here. And pretty much from that point forward, it was all Tigers all the time.
Oh man, what a catch!
Yeah, it was a great play. It was a great play.
The thing about this game is that Lamar puts a whole lot into playing Charleston. They just hate them. They just don't like them. And Charleston beats Lamar pretty much every time they play.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where I can't even imagine the psyche of Lamar going down after a play like that and just them not being able to bounce back. It's not too much of a surprise. It's not fun to think about. It's not a good thing, but Charleston just kind of does what Charleston does, and it's one of those things, man. They've had some rough losses this year. They've not looked like themselves, but unfortunately, the Jekyll and Hyde, Lamar got the good Charleston tonight. So that's a rough loss for the Warriors, but hopefully they're able to bounce back, and next week will be a good performance, and it'll be a fun game to watch, though, man.
For sure.
Atkins with that offense, Lamar with their offense. I've been a little disappointed in Lamar's defense the last few weeks. Now, obviously, that's partially because of who they're playing and the top quality competition,
right.
But if their defense isn't on point in the first week of the playoffs, Atkins' offense can put them out.
Atkins has got playmakers all over the field. It's hard to say that they're going to be as good as Charleston as far as offensively. Just watching Charleston, they did a lot of things that you just don't see a lot of high school teams do.
Yeah.
Very well coached. And like I said, Charleston was ready to play. Listen, you don't get a lot of opportunity to be around Charleston. I was actually on the Charleston sideline tonight because that's where I came into the game. Man, it's like little Texas over there, man. I'm just telling you, it's a different world there at Charleston. In fact, I was telling them, I was like, look, hey, you know what? We do this show here. We're from Russellville. We cover Lamar, and they were like, oh, I'm sorry, and they were like, wouldn't you rather come up here and cover Charleston? I'm like, no, I wouldn't. But
wow.
That's just how they think
that's good.
and feel.
Now I don't have to feel bad about rooting against them forever.
Oh, yeah.
So they can join the Ozark crowd. How about that?
Well, both Franklin County,
There's something in the water over there. It just makes people we don't like. All right, we got to hit a break. We got several more games we want to hit. We're trying to work around coaches' schedules to get a hold of them as well. They've had a long night coaching their games, and then they got to get something to eat. They got to get ready. They probably got kids to put to bed and all this other. So we're going to try to talk with Coach Weaver from the Russellville Cyclones. They got a 30-16 win over Siloam Springs. If you're just hopping on our Bring the Steakhouse scoreboard as we head into break, Russellville 30-16 winners over Siloam Springs. Pottsville 41-20 winners over Subiaco Academy. Hector 26-22 winners over Mountainburg. Morrilton 42-21 winners over Clarksville. Dover last night beat Waldron in a thriller 46-42. Atkins got Two Rivers 42-0. Dardanelle fell 28-14 to Meta tonight. The shocker of the night. We'll talk later about that. Lamar fell 31-6 in the game we just talked about with Charleston. And Danville last night got Perryville 41-0. So we're going to hit a break. When we come back, we're going to talk with Coach Jeff Weaver of the Russellville Cyclones about their win.
Find new roads at Phil Wright Autoplex in Russellville and see why so many people are buying the right way, like up to $7,500 off the 2019 Chevrolet Equinox. Or drive away in a 2018 Chevrolet Cruze starting at $14,599. Find new roads with the 2018 Chevrolet Malibu up to $6,000 off. And don't miss up to $14,500 off the 2018 Chevrolet Silverado for 43 years. Phil Wright Autoplex has been the right place to buy, and there's a reason why we've been awarded the best new car dealership in the area for the past 9 years straight.
Your little superhero is amazing. And as a parent, you want nothing more than for your kids to be safe, eat right, and grow up happy and healthy. That's why when your children face a strong-armed enemy like illness or injury, you want to place them in the hands of equally amazing caregivers. Caregivers like the pediatricians at Millard Henry Clinic. Our board-certified specialists have their own incredible set of superhero skills and insight, so that no matter what your kids face, you can trust our team to provide them with quality, compassionate care. In the quest to keep kids healthy in the Arkansas River Valley, every child needs to have a Millard Henry Clinic pediatrician in their corner, even superheroes. For an appointment, call Millard Henry Clinic.
Welcome back into River Valley Touchdowns. Busy night. Lots of stuff going on. Lots of moving parts on tonight's show. But we are glad to be joined now by head Russellville Cyclone Jeff Weaver. 30-16 win over Siloam Springs tonight. And, Coach, you just told me in the break there that win not only locked up the 3 seed, but a home game next week against Sylvan Hills.
Absolutely. Huge night for the Cyclones. A lot of fun.
Well, I was looking at some of the stats, and you guys, as always, your offense played pretty well. Your defense has been just rock solid all year. What was the best part for your team tonight? What was it the offense, defense? Were you proud of all of it? What was the game like?
Well, a lot like last week, just a real team win. We came out. It was their senior night. They had a lot to play for. They were playing for a home playoff game. They jumped on us 10-0, and our guys kind of regrouped. We got a drive going offensively and went and scored, and really took control in the second quarter. We had a situation, right before half, we're up 14-10. Just a few seconds, trying to get a drive, get down to about their 23, somewhere in there. 4 seconds on the clock. And Wesley Robinson goes in as our field goal kicker and drills a field goal, and gave us a big momentum boost. I think we kicked 3 field goals. We got a turnover. We punted and stripped the ball loose. Our defense, Johnny Booker, made a phenomenal play to end their drive early in the third quarter with an interception in the end zone. And so it's just one of those nights that all 3 phases played really well, and long road trip, go up there on their senior night and get the big win.
That's a big win for you guys, coming back from 10-0, as you said, 17 points there in the second quarter. Just reading through some stats here. Thank you to Mickey Duval and Cyclone Booth for putting these up on the Facebook page there. 21 of 28 for 287 yards and 2 touchdowns was Red Adkins. He also had 45 yards rushing. And Brad, we mentioned him every single week, but Jaden Palmer, 11 catches for 161 yards and a touchdown tonight.
You know, we've
Jaden.
Go ahead, Coach.
Jaden was awesome. He's the guy that covered a punt, ran down there, stood the guy up, and just took the ball away from him. And then he also returned a kickoff from about the 5-yard line to their 10 or 15-yard line. So Jaden was huge. And Rhett, I think it was like 7 incompletions. I think 3 of them were batted down. So he was really on it as well.
Was that I was listening to the radio when I was coming in here, and it sounded like that Jaden Palmer pass was kind of a shovel pass?
One of his
the touchdown
plays was he caught several over the middle. He caught a couple of shovel passes. He was all over the place. Another thing he did really well tonight was blocked on the edge. We had a long touchdown pass to Aaron Williams, and we just flipped it out into the flat to Springy for about a 60-yard touchdown.
Coach, speak about the resolve of your team when, your backs are kind of against the wall. Last week where you go to El Dorado, not a lot of people thought that you were going to win that game. You go to Siloam Springs now, you win that game to get that 3 seed and really get that better draw for the playoffs.
Got a tough-minded team.
Just really proud of them. We've put in so much work, and these kids have believed all along. They haven't got caught up on what other people are going to say. Kind of put a chip on the shoulder. We have senior leadership. We've got a big senior class. They all find a way to contribute one way or another. And when you see on the schedule you're going to finish with 2 long road trips, El Dorado and Siloam, you're kind of worried about, well, what if a bunch is on the line? Well, with this bunch, it didn't matter. And really proud of them. The seniors wanted one more game at home, and they've guaranteed themselves that, and we look forward to going back to Cyclone Stadium next Friday and try to advance to the playoffs.
Well, I know it's early, but I'm sure you've done at least a little bit of recon here. What do you know about Sylvan Hills?
Well, I was in Sylvan Hills Conference the last 2 years at Little Rock Christian. Jimmy Withrow does a really good job with those guys. They're really young this year. They've been super talented the last 2 years. This year they're really young. Coach Withrow and I spent some time on the phone yesterday and today, and it sounds like the young guys are starting to figure it out a little bit, and I know they'll be excited about the challenge, be excited to be in the playoffs their first year in 6A. It'll be tough. They'll be really athletic. They'll run the football well, and on defense they'll definitely run to the football. So we'll have to have a good week of preparation to meet that challenge.
Well, Coach, congratulations on the big road win. You guys have, as Brad mentioned, a lot of resolve, got a tough-minded team, and you guys earned yourselves a home playoff berth and a home playoff game next week. So we look forward to a rocking Cyclone Stadium next week.
Hey, I appreciate it, guys.
That's Coach Jeff Weaver. The Russellville Cyclones got a 30-16 win over Siloam Springs tonight. That's just another good win for Russellville on the road. It seems like when they go on the road, I think their worst games of the year have been at home. They've just played very well on the road because they are tough and they're just gritty. They got a great defense. I really like this Russellville team.
I do too, and I like the fact that they don't have to play Benton or Greenwood in the second round if they were to beat Sylvan Hills. So, I think that they've got a chance to make a run into that semifinal round there, where I think, if I'm not mistaken, they may have Greenwood waiting on them if that were to come to pass. But at that being said, again, every game that you can win, every time that you can extend your season, it's just a feather in your ball cap. And, as time goes on, you can say, hey, look, we were a semifinal football team, or we made the finals, or we did this, or we did that. So every game that you win, it kind of adds to the lore of your team.
Absolutely. All right, let's call Coach Scott Poteet from Hector. We got to talk a little bit about this. We got so many Hector fans, it's not even funny, man. I think our biggest fan base right now for River Valley Touchdowns is the Hector Wildcats fans.
I think you're exactly right. We love our Hector Wildcats fans. They do a great job of providing us content, tweeting us. They're the tweeting for sure.
They're the tweetingest people.
The tweetingest people you've ever seen.
They get after it, man. They definitely help us out a lot. So,
but we've got a few highlights of them right now. Biggest thing for them tonight, man, was the fact that they got a bye in the playoffs with that win. They and Mountainburg actually tied for the conference championship. Just looking at their draw, it's not a great draw. Even though they got the 1 seed, it looks like Mount Ida will be traveling to Hector for that second round game. But
Mount Ida, man.
Mount Ida, but you'll get that game in at Hector. Right? It's a Mount Ida Bearden matchup. The winner of that matchup gets Hector at Hector. So, I'll take my Wildcats. I'll take my opportunities with my Wildcats at Hector. That's going to be a rocking place to play at, no doubt about it. And look, man, when you got a guy like Cody Day that's swinging that ball all over the field, man, it really gives you an opportunity to win a few ball games. Here's a few of the highlights right there. Now, I got to admit something, Mark. We talk about Ozark a lot, and I was a former Ozark hillbilly. I graduated from Mountainburg, Arkansas, folks. I was a Mountainburg Dragon.
So Hector beating them tonight hurt you a little bit, huh?
Well, it's been a long time.
Hey, Coach Poteet, how are you doing tonight?
Doing well. How are you guys doing tonight?
Doing well, man. We were just talking about you guys' big win tonight on the season there with what was the final score here, Brad? 26-22. Weren't you guys down early in that game?
Yes, sir. We were down 14-0 to start the game.
Well, what in the world happened? What got into your team to get them back in the game?
We picked it up offensively, and the defense got huge stops, and we scored with 39 seconds to go before the half. And the kids played well tonight. They left it all out there. I'm extremely proud of them.
Well, Coach, in a game like this, as you mentioned, going down 14-0, it takes a little something special and to enable you to come back and win a game like that. Would you talk just a little bit about some of the guys who made that happen?
Well, it started with the defense up front. They got a couple stops, and we got a turnover. We got a turnover right there with 39 seconds before the half. We got a fumble. And then Cody Day threw, one play touchdown to Gunnar Garrison. And Blake Kane was huge tonight running the football. He did a great job. Our offensive line picked it up. And, it was a physical game between both teams. Mountainburg is good. But tonight we played well enough to win.
Brad, will you look at or give us a little bit as far as the playoff implications of tonight's game and what's going on going forward here?
So, Coach, you've got it looks like first round bye. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay.
We'll have the winner of Mount Ida, and I believe is what we've been told.
Mount Ida and Bearden? Yeah.
Yes.
So Mount Ida, they were the finalists last year, right? They lost to Foreman in the finals. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Didn't they win it the year before that?
They won it the year before that.
They won it the year before, yeah.
Well,
they're really talented. They're good.
So
got a lot of seniors on that team.
Yeah.
And, they do a great job up there. They've had a lot of success and, a lot of seniors, and that usually means for a pretty tough game.
Right. Now, just looking at them, you probably expect them to come to Hector. Obviously anything can happen in the playoffs, but looks like your second round matchup will be against Mount Ida.
That's what everybody's telling us, but like I said, you got to play the game
Absolutely.
first. But if you go by seedings, yes, you would think that. Those guys played a tough conference with Man and Gerd. So yeah, if we went off that, but Bearden's conference no slouch either. You got Duncan City, you got Hampton, you got Fordyce. Both of those teams have played really, really good teams, and a good game.
So I want to ask you this because, you guys got beat up pretty good in that first game against Atkins, and then you had a little bump in the road against Magazine there in the middle of the season. What did you do to rally your your troops after that game against Magazine to get them to a point where they were able to win the conference championship tonight?
I think I've told you guys before, we preach, it's about us. It's fixing us. Magazine, like I told y'all, we had, I can't remember, 4 or 5 turnovers, and they did a great job of taking advantage of them, and just, they did a great job defensively, stripping at it and everything else. And then you just come back, lick your wounds, and you try to fix you. You worry about you, and you think if you can take care of that, you just get better every practice, that we'll start having some success.
Coach, these high school players better than we do by far, for sure. But they're just like most athletes. I'm sure they're creatures of habit. But going into next week, you don't have a game. So how do you coach that game? That bye week. How do you prepare as best you can and still kind of keep them in the flow you want them in? We were talking about that as you guys were calling, and we're about to sit down here. We're about to discuss that because that's a great question. There's. We're going to come in Monday and watch some film, but, there's a lot of corrections to make. And, not playing this, we kind of experienced it with the bye week. The 0 week this year kind of helps you prepare for that a little bit. But, this is a different time of the year with the playoffs. And so, we're going to sit down as a staff and discuss what's going to be best for the kids. Well, I hope that, at this point in the season, late in the year, you get some bumps and bruises healed up and you get some guys a little healthier going into next week or the week after, I guess, when you're playing in the first round after this bye. So congratulations, Coach. You earned that bye, so hopefully you guys can enjoy it. I know it won't give you any more time off. You guys are going to pour into some preparation and whatnot and get you guys better. So we appreciate your time and congratulations, man. Appreciate it. Thank y'all. All right. Have a good night. That's Coach Scott Poteet from the Hector Wildcats. They got a 26-22 win over Mountainburg tonight to win a conference championship, earn a bye. Huge win at Hector tonight. And, again, one of those games that I don't think a lot of people thought Hector would win tonight. Mountainburg has had a very good season coming into tonight. I believe they finished the season 8-2. First, in fact, that's – and I haven't followed as well as I need to be, but I'm pretty sure they lost their second game to Greenland, and that was a pretty good shootout. And then they lost tonight, so I believe they were 8-2 on the season. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I'm sure somebody will correct me here very soon. Somebody will let you know. But that being said, huge win for Hector tonight. And they were able to earn that bye, and again, they get the chance to win the get a chance to play against Mount Ida or Bearden, and again, you just see what happens. Yep. Well, let's look at the rest of these games we've got, Brad. I know you've got stats for Morrilton and Clarksville, a 42-21 win for Morrilton. That's a team right now that nobody in the state is going to want to see coming in in the playoffs. Jacoby Criswell back. Playing quarterback, which means you get to slide some people back over to different positions where they may have been better suited, and now you're just loaded. Morrilton is back to one of the top teams in the state, and they're going to be a lower seed going into the playoffs, but they look good. Well, a lot of people, we've talked about Criswell a lot on this show, but I'm going to tell you, man, this Xavier Clemens kid is a touchdown machine. 3 touchdowns tonight. He had 4 last week. He was our player of the week. He was our player of the week last week. He had a similar game tonight, 20 carries, 122 yards, and 3 touchdowns to go along with 2 catches for 21 yards. The kid knows how to find the end zone. Criswell tonight, 16 of 24, 257 yards, 3 touchdowns for him tonight. He does add a different dynamic to that offense. I mean, Dylan White, no offense to him, and Tucker Granberry, who got to play a little bit tonight, no offense to him. But Jacoby Criswell, there's a reason why SEC schools are all over this kid, and he's able to add a different dimension. Now Morrilton somehow, some way, ended up with the 2 seed. And now they get a home game against Little Rock Parkview. And again, it's like you said, there's nobody that wants to see Morrilton right now. I need to look up the 5A playoffs just to see what it will be if they were to beat Parkview. Now, let me say something about Parkview. Parkview's going to have athletes. That's going to be for sure. And Brad Bolding has went to Parkview, and he has turned that program around in a few years. He's a very good coach. He's very well known, the former North Little Rock coach. Yep. He's done a great job there.
Parkview's not going to be a pushover.
It's not like the Parkview that you when you hear that now, you think back a few years ago and it's like, oh, it's like Hall is right now,
Exactly.
just not very good.
Exactly.
But that's not the case.
No, not at all. And they're gonna be good. They're gonna offer a challenge. I still think that Morrilton wins the game, and I'm trying to look at if Morrilton does win the game, who they play, which will be either the East 1 seed or the South 4 seed. I'm checking that out right now.
Okay, I'd like to know some of those stats from tonight, aside from the Clemens stats, because I didn't hear any of the others. But I wanted to make sure that we hit some of those.
Mason Adams, 6 catches, 122 yards, and a touchdown. And another kid that makes that thing go over there in Morrilton, Lamar Wofford, 3 catches, 43 yards, and a touchdown. Those are some guys that stood out on the offensive side of the ball. Dylan White led the team in tackles tonight with 5.
See?
Yeah.
Dylan White gets to go back and play defense and not play offense anymore.
Other than that, it looks like, not much going on as far as fumbles or interceptions.
What were the Clarksville stats?
Interceptions. I'll have to go to them here, and I'll tell you.
Man, thank you to Morrilton. They do a great job with their stats. Man, they give you some really good stuff.
It's ridiculous. Nick Buckner, he was 3 of 6 passing, 37 yards and a touchdown. Bryce Buckner had a pass and 1 of 2 for 29 yards. Rushing wise, Buckner had 12 yards, and Bryce Buckner had 36. Colby Burkett, though, he had 91 yards on 5 attempts.
That's a good kid right there.
And he had a touchdown.
I like Colby.
Bryce Buckner had your touchdown, and then Nicholas Buckner also threw a touchdown tonight. And then,
well, at least Clarksville fought.
It looks like Garrett Waddell had an interception tonight.
Garrett Waddell, he's a good kid, good family. All right, well, sorry, I sound like I'm 76 years old talking about people's granddaddies and whatnot. I do know his granddad, though. We do need to take a break real quickly. We've got some more games to cover. We've got to talk about our player of the week. We've got to hit our hit of the week and our play of the week. We've got a lot left on the show, so stay tuned. We'll be back right after this break.
Visit Cobb Jai in historic downtown Russellville for some of the best Thai and Asian cuisine in the region. With outstanding steak, pho, curry, and more, you're sure to find something savory to suit your palate. Great service and friendly staff round out the authentic eating experience. Stop by today. You'll be glad you did. Cobb Jai Thai Restaurant.
Experience Buick and experience 43 years at Phil Wright Autoplex in Russellville and see why so many people have been buying the right way. Hurry in for incredible savings like up to $7,000 off the 2018 Buick Regal Sportsback, or drive away in the popular 2018 Buick Encore with up to $7,500 off, or up to $9,000 off the 2018 Buick Enclaves. Experience Buick and experience the right place to buy at Phil Wright Autoplex. There's a reason why we've been awarded the best new car dealership in the area for the past 9 years straight. Exit 84, just off I-40, Russellville.
We get it. Working out can be confusing. Here at Focus Fitness, we take the guesswork out. Real training, real results. Focus Fitness. Start your transformation.
Welcome back into River Valley Touchdowns. It's time now for our play of the week. Brought to you by
Smackin' Wings.
the best wings I've ever had in my whole life.
In the whole universe.
In the whole world.
No, seriously, if you haven't been over there, I know we talk about a lot of our people, and we like you to shop local and eat local and do all these things that are local. Smackin' Wings is definitely one of those places that you need to hit up.
Yep.
But Jordan Metcalf of Dardanelle got our play of the week. He just very good run against Elkins, a 25-yard run where he doing a little bounce, a little rumbling, bumbling, stumbling, as Chris Bourbon used to say, for that touchdown against Elkins, where Dardanelle was able to beat Elkins 41-28 on their senior night there at Dardanelle. Unfortunately for Dardanelle tonight, they were unable to pick up the victory against Mena, which I really thought going into that game that they would beat Mena.
Yeah.
And Mena came to Pottsville. Pottsville put it on Mena pretty good this year, but Mena was able to upset Elkins and Dardanelle both at home, and because of that, Mena jumps all the way from like the 5 seed to the 2 seed, and it knocked Dardanelle down to the 3 seed, Elkins to the 4 seed, which is a tough 4 seed for sure. Now Dardanelle gets Jonesboro Westside. I like Dardanelle's chances in that first round matchup at Dardanelle. Boy, what an interesting matchup though. Good Lord, if they win, they play Josh Price, former Dardanelle coach, in the second round at Stuttgart.
So does Stuttgart have a bye?
Stuttgart does have a bye.
Okay. Well, I guess Mena's better than we thought, because when I saw that score, my first thought was Dardanelle lost on purpose. I said Dardanelle just didn't want to. They wanted a matchup. Let's look at it and see what happens with the matchup. Maybe they got a better matchup if they lost. Nobody's losing on purpose. I know that. But you just look at it and you think, what in the world's happening? But then Mena, as you mentioned, they just bounce up. They're up and down, but they beat some of the good teams. So beating Elkins and beating Dardanelle, that's a good season for Mena, because they just traditionally are just okay.
Yeah.
And Dardanelle started out pretty hot.
They did. Dardanelle is Dardanelle's a good team. Here's the thing that if I'm a Dardanelle fan, I'm a little worried about, and that's if some teams start stacking the box on us and making us throw the football to beat you.
Stephen Baker said Dardanelle lost a quarterback.
Oh, the play of the week, Jordan Metcalf.
Man.
That's tough.
In the first half, Stephen Baker on the Cobb Jai hotline. Sorry about that, Dardanelle. That makes a little bit more sense as to why Dardanelle wasn't able to do what they wanted offensively.
Let me say this though, Mena actually jumped on him before, so I don't know exactly when they lost him, but Mena they never trailed in the game.
Wow.
So, not to say that Jordan Metcalf wouldn't have made a difference.
Obviously, he's good enough. He's our play of the week.
Jordan Metcalf is a very good player, and Dardanelle. Dardanelle, the thing to me that I watch Dardanelle is there's not a lot of superstars on that team.
No. But,
boy, they're well coached. They're hard-nosed. They've got some very good, solid players that know where to be and when to be there.
Yeah.
And Jordan Metcalf is one of those guys. We talked about
Blake Chambers and Katie Taylor.
Yes.
They've got some guys for sure.
Yes, Brandon Bunton was another guy. We
unsung
highlighted
hero.
last week. These guys know how to play. They've got other guys, and the thing is, Dardanelle's very physical to point the attack. Again, if I'm worried, if I'm a team though, if I'm scared, I'm going to make Dardanelle pass the ball. I'm going to put 7, 8 in the box. I'm going to make them pass the ball. Now, look, they could beat you that way, but that's what
you're not going to let them do what they want to do.
Exactly. That's what I'm doing. I'm going to make them play left-handed if I'm playing them. But anyway, this is going to be an interesting matchup now, especially with the fact that, if Metcalf is not able to come and run the team, he does a good job running the team. Jonesboro Westside lost 2 games in conference. They ended up in a 3-way tie. So, they're not a bad 4 seed. They won 5 games in the conference. So, anyway, just something to be looking for. Of course, I still like Dardanelle's chances. Think they've got a good opportunity to win that first round game. But, boy, man, going to Stuttgart that second round, that's going to be one heck of a matchup.
Oof. That's storylines everywhere on that one.
Oh, for sure.
We mentioned Danville 41-0 winners last night over Perryville. Not a whole heck of a lot to talk about on that one, aside from the fact that Danville's going to go into the playoffs. They're going to have do you know who their Yellville Summit is? That what you've got there?
They've got.
I'll steal your research.
Of all the teams in our area, Danville's got the best draw in the first round. Danville should march on pretty easily. Danville's one of those teams, man, that if they get the right draw, and I think they could get that momentum going, Danville's going to be a hard out for somebody to beat.
They always are.
They always are.
So, All right, we've got to show you some Dover highlights. We got some Dover Pirate highlights from this year. Not been the best of years for the Dover Pirates, but they got a 46-42 win over Waldron last night on a Thursday night. They were able to come out. That's a boss move right there, walking out. Just look at it. We're not running. We're walking. We're going to show you. And then Dover was able to win a shootout against Waldron.
Yes, they were. Dover had control of this game from pretty much the word go. I think the most interesting thing that you can come out of this game with is that Dover has had trouble scoring points all year long, and they got 46.
Yep.
Dover, there were games that the Dover's defense showed up well. Some games they didn't. Dover dealt with injuries all year long. I was at the Dardanelle game. I believe they were playing 3 seniors because they had so many kids that had gotten injured. Of course, this was a battle of 2 teams that weren't going to the playoffs. But, I like the fact that Dover came out, fought on their senior night. They wanted to win that game and be able to take that victory because nobody wants to lose on senior night, man. Nobody does. And so I'm proud of the Pirates for being able to fight. Now you got something to build on into the offseason.
Yep, that's exactly right.
One thing that I'll say about that Dover is we talked to Coach Smith at the first of the year. He said, wing tee, wing tee, wing tee, wing tee. We didn't see a lot of wing tee. Now, here's the question. In the offseason, does Dover take what they did in the spread and try to build upon that? And, look, I like J.P. Lovelace as the quarterback. I told you that. He threw the ball well last night. I felt like he's got some ability to throw the football. I don't know if Dover's going to stick with this spread or not, but I like the spread. I think it gives them a better chance.
That's what I was going to say. It may utilize their, if you have a bunch of big bruisers, maybe you do run the T or you run some sort of power running style. But if you've got some smaller, more agile guys, maybe you spread it out and throw it a little bit and give yourself a better chance to get out in space and make something happen. Seems like that worked a little better for Dover at the end of the year. Obviously, scoring 46 last night was a good indicator of that. So congratulations going out on a positive note for the Dover seniors and for the Dover Pirates this year going into the offseason. So congratulations again on that win. We need to show you our Mattress Max hit of the week. This is a fun one. We really like to do this, and we've given these guys the opportunity. Actually, Mattress Max has done this, so we didn't have anything to do with that, but to get a free luxury travel pillow for winning this award. And, it'll come in handy if they're playing basketball because the football season's almost over. But some of them will have an opportunity to take it with them in the playoffs or going on vacation, exactly. But who do we have, Brad, tonight the Mattress Max hit of the week?
Pottsville's Emilio Torres, boy, and he got a nice lick here at the goal line. This was actually a goal line stand. Probably the reason he got this award was because this was a 4th and goal. He comes out of nowhere and just boom.
Oh,
yeah. Oh,
hey.
yeah.
He said you're not getting in that end zone. Is that Emiliano Torres? Is that the name?
That's his name, Emiliano Torres. And, man, what a pop that he had there. And, again, that goal line stand. Again, man, Bill Harshaw is just a boss, man, when it comes to highlights. He got this good hit.
Dang, he just turned him away.
Oh, yeah, he turned him away. Coming
I
out
like
of that hey, put that one up one more time for me, Corey. I want to show you something. I'm going to get my X's and O's out here.
All right.
So if you watch, he's actually at the middle linebacker spot. He does a good job here in the run fit and just explodes through the quarterback. And, man, what a play by Torres. And, I actually spoke to Torres on the phone yesterday, so he's got his opportunity to go over to Mattress Max, get that luxury travel pillow, and, have a little reward for the season that he's had.
Absolutely. All right, we got to hit our final break. We're going to try to get back with Coach Rust from Pottsville and talk a little bit about that game and also about the impact of tonight's senior night festivities with Drake Manus being a part. So we're going to hit this final break. When we come back, we'll tie a bow on it, talk about our player of the week, Drake Manus.
that short drive to Russellville and see why so many people are buying the right way. At Phil Wright Autoplex in Russellville, hurry in for incredible savings like up to $12,000 off the 2018 GMC Yukons and up to $8,000 off the 2018 GMC Acadias. Ride in comfort in the GMC 2018 Terrains with up to $7,500 off. Hurry in for $14,500 off the 2018 GMC Sierras. Phil Wright Autoplex is the right place to buy, and there's a reason why we've been awarded the best auto dealership in the area for up to 9 years straight. Exit 84, just off 540, Russellville.
Your little superhero is amazing. And as a parent, you want nothing more than for your kids to be safe, eat right, and grow up happy and healthy. That's why when your children face a strong-armed enemy like illness or injury, you want to place them in the hands of equally amazing caregivers. Caregivers like the pediatricians at Millard Henry Clinic. Our board-certified specialists have their own incredible set of superhero skills and insight, so that no matter what your kids face, you can trust our team to provide them with quality, compassionate care. In the quest to keep kids healthy in the Arkansas River Valley, every child needs to have a Millard Henry Clinic pediatrician in their corner, even superheroes. For an appointment, call Millard Henry Clinic.
All right, welcome back to the last segment of tonight's regular season finale of River Valley Touchdowns. Tonight, St. Mary's Regional Health System Game of the Week was the Pottsville Apaches getting a 41-20 win over the Subiaco Academy Trojans. And Brad, we told people before the show even began, you showed them on the Facebook Live that we did earlier this evening, that tonight's Phil Wright Autoplex Player of the Week was going to be Drake Manus, and it was with good reason. He was able to walk out on senior night after an accident that coulda, shoulda, woulda paralyzed him and perhaps even ended his life. What a night it was, Brad.
Absolutely. It was just an incredible atmosphere to be a part of, something that I will never forget, and just the emotional lift that I feel like that Pottsville got from that tonight was I think, huge.
Well, we're joined now by Coach Brian Rust of victorious Pottsville Apaches. Wanted to talk with him about the game, but the bigger picture, Coach, is that tonight on senior night and just throughout the day, obviously you guys had a pep rally earlier on, and Drake was able to be a part of it. He's back in school. He's going to graduate on time. It's just a crazy, crazy miracle that's going on in Pottsville. What kind of impact did that have on tonight's game and on your team just so far?
I think it was huge, just having him back and being part of school again, just everything I think everybody in the community has been through with it, and just constantly, it's on your mind, and just his fair, well-being of what's going on in his life and how everything's impacted him and all that kind of stuff. But just getting to see him back with us, of course saw all kinds of videos and things throughout the recovery, but just having him back with us and his parents able to come home and just be home. I talked to his mom, and she's just so happy just to be home, and I think that's huge. And of course, everybody getting to see him just on a daily basis now is just been great. And our kids are so excited. And then, to see him come in on the helicopter and walk out there and then getting to lead us through the tunnel. I mean, all those things just mean so much, especially with where it all started. It's been an unbelievable ride.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, I wanted to see, kind of the impact maybe that you felt from the players and from the actual play on the field. Do you feel like there was obviously you guys did an awesome job as coaches to keep your guys, you want them to be energized, but you don't want them to be, out of their minds coming into the game when you have that kind of atmosphere and that kind of electricity in the room, in the building. What was it like to try to keep them, kind of corralled and also harness that energy toward the field?
Well, it definitely, just him coming back to school, had kind of a meeting, when he came back, and, all that kind of stuff. And I think the kids, you just see it, at the pep rally. It was crazy. I mean, it was absolutely crazy. I mean, his kids cheering, and, Drake made the appearance, and we're, talking about the seniors, 2018 senior Apaches, and, it just goes crazy, and you could just feel it, throughout the day, just people hyped up, and, as we're coming in, I think the senior staff there to line up, and our guys. I mean, there wasn't one guy that wanted to go inside. I mean, everyone wants to stay out there and wait for that, for Drake to arrive, and just, it's something to see. And again, like you were saying earlier, it's something you'll never forget, and just the miracle that's occurred. I think the kids realize it. They won't realize it truly for probably several years, but to a guy my age, and just to go through this, it's just tremendous, because you think about your own kids and going through that. Just one of your brothers having to deal with the situation and to pull through like he has, and to make the recovery he has, it's been unbelievable.
Well, back to the field for just a moment. You guys were able to lock up a playoff berth, and you were able to earn your way into the playoffs. Talk about the upcoming matchup and what you guys have got to prepare for coming up next week.
Well, we'll see a Robinson team that we've kind of been with them for several years. I remember on their field years back. I think it was 3 or 4 years back. We had kind of a regular season finale against them, and I think they're picked to beat us, and we come out, and I think we were down 2 or 3 scores at half, and we came back and made a dramatic comeback. And I think 2 years ago we saw them in the first round of playoffs, and actually performed pretty well early, and then we just kind of let it slip away. But it's a team that I know Coach Escola, have known him for a long time, and we know what he's going to have. He's going to have several athletes that can really run, and defensively they're going to run at you and try to control the line of scrimmage, and then get their athletes in space. So it's definitely going to be a tough matchup for us. But at the same time, we've seen some really good teams this year, and I don't think it's anything that we haven't seen, with some of the teams we've seen throughout the year. But we know our margin for error is going to be really small.
Well, Coach, man, we really are looking forward to watching you guys play, and congratulations on a big win and a way to finish out the season for all the seniors at home, and earn that win on senior night. I'm sure it was a really special night, and as we've both mentioned, it's something we'll never forget. We're going to have an RV Inside feature story here coming up in the next few weeks, and I hope to talk to you for that as well, about the impact of Drake and the things that have gone on throughout the community to kind of rally around him and you guys as a team. So thank you for your time. We appreciate you, and you guys have a good weekend.
All right. Thank you.
That's Coach Brian Rust of the Pottsville Apaches. Brad, we mentioned that's just a lot, man. That's just a really heavy week or two, or all throughout the summer even, to deal with, and for them to be able to bounce back from what was a really not great middle of the season for the Apaches, right, and get these wins at the end of the year. I know we're talking about it like Subiaco's any good. They're not, but Pottsville was able to come out and on a really emotional night and a really emotional time, we're able to get that win. And I hope you guys are aware of what's going on with this RV Inside feature. We got the footage tonight from the helicopter where they picked them up at the airport. Thank you to Survival Flight for letting us be there and be a part of that. They even wore a little GoPro camera for us to get us some footage, but we've got some really high quality footage that we're going to be able to show, and Michelle put this little package together for you right now, Brad. This is going to be maybe the best thing that I've ever been a part of in journalism.
Yeah, it's going to be something that I know you're going to want to see. Man, we've had so many stories, just about just different guys, different things that have happened around the area. This RV Inside started with Hunter Boyer and his story about falling off the cliff, and we had such a reaction to that. Yeah. 22,000 views on that video alone. Tonight we got, I don't even know what it is right now.
It was over 10,000.
Over 10,000 views on this live video that we had with Drake. Obviously, there are people that are interested in these things and these stories, and yes, it's going to be something that I think you're going to remember for a very long time. and something that, you know, you'll be able to go back and watch over and over and over again. But what a story that it's going to be.
Absolutely. 13,000 views so far, 473 likes, 406 shares. People really care about this story. It's one of those, just, I mean, look at the crowd reaction as they introduced him tonight. They said, help us welcome one final senior. And I'm just getting a little chill bump just thinking about it. They had him come out and, you know, getting to talk to his mom and dad the last few weeks to try to organize the stories that we're going to try to do. It's very special and it's very touching, and, you know, obviously a senior who would have helped this football team, and for them to have to undergo all that stress and strain as a school and as a community, it's really neat. The best part about this, aside from just the miracle, the fact that he's alive and he's walking and he's healthy enough that next week, 5 months ahead of time, that he's going to get that trach out, and he's going to be basically back to, you know, he's obviously going to have to go through therapies and those types of things, but he's going to be back to where he was for the most part so much earlier. But the best part about all this is how everybody has come together around him and around that school and around the community to help. I mean, you have Brangus, our own scoreboard sponsors, who put on a little banquet benefit with the Russellville Booster Club. We're going to talk with Randy Adkins, another one of our sponsors from Adkins and Associates, that raised over $10,000 for Drake and his family, because obviously you're going to be off work this amount of time. Your insurance isn't going to cover everything. There's just going to be bills on top of bills that pile up for this kind of surgery and this kind of care, going to Baltimore and all that. But Brad, I'm very touched, and I love this community for how it kind of rallied around Drake.
Yeah, this is what you want. You want to be a part of this, and you want your kids and just to see this. You know, I wanted my little kids to be there tonight. I mean, just to be around this and to treasure. Guys, we have a special area. Yeah. You know, we really do. We have a special area that we live in. You know, it's a place that is like, you know, a little bit like Mayberry in a lot of ways. Yeah. And that's a good thing.
Yeah, no, there are people who would talk about that in a negative way, but it's not always a bad thing. You're right.
No. It's you know, especially now, especially in this time that we're in, where the world is just it's a lot different than it used to be. Yeah. And for us to be able to keep a little bit of that Mayberry feel in this area, it speaks a lot. And when you have a situation like a Drake Manus, people just come together and come around, and it's just it's a special thing.
Absolutely. All right, so as we tie a bow on the night, we want to say thank you for everybody who's watched everything we've done so far. There's going to be probably nearly 100,000 views on River Valley Touchdowns. It's just unbelievable, the outpouring of support that we've seen and we've felt and experienced from you guys. We did want to make sure that you know that you've got to get a hold of the RV Inside features. We want our business partners who are helping us to provide the content and making that possible to know that you appreciate what they're tying into. It is telling great stories, Brad, from local people.
Let me just say something right now, and I want you to see this. I'm looking at you straight in the eye when I tell you this, that what we're doing right now is something that is just, I think, is really good. I think that you really want to be a part of what we're going to be doing, not only in the end of this year, but in 2019. We've got some stuff that is going to be unbelievable, and I think that if you're a business partner, you should want to be a part of what we're doing.
There's going to be some stuff coming down the pike, and we want to tell those good stories. So keep connected with us. You can find us on Facebook. You can email. You can call. There's all kinds of different ways that you can get in touch with us, but we want to tell those good stories. We want to lift up community, and we want to be a part of that, and that's what this whole show came to be about and how it came to be. I thank Brad for coming in my office and asking me if I wanted to do it, and me telling him I didn't know, but we've found out, and turns out it was a good idea. So Brad's had one in his life, at least, aside from asking Katie Joe to marry him. So we got to get out of here, guys. It's been a great regular season, and we'll be back to talk more about the playoffs. We'll probably do things a little differently going into the playoffs with all the scheduling things that are going to go on, but we'll be talking about these games. We'll be previewing next week's playoff games, and we might even be reviewing them afterward on the next Monday. So for Brad and Mark and Corey and Bill and Michelle and everyone, Tara Freeman, everybody who's sent in highlights, Maddie who's done some good stuff. Oh my gosh, man, all the graphics, everything you see, Maddie has all set up, Maddie Lassiter, so we appreciate him and everybody who's been a part of this show, from St. Mary's to Phil Wright to Brangus, everybody, Mattress
Cobb
Max,
Jai.
Cobb Jai, Smacking Wings,
Whew.
everybody, Adkins and Associates. We couldn't tell you guys all thanks. I'm sorry, I'm sure I left 10 people out, but we very much appreciate everything you've
And we
done to
wanna
make
do
this
this
show
for
possible.
years
Want
to
to keep
come.
it going. Want
Years
to keep
to
it
come.
going. So it's all about you guys. So for all of them, I'm Mark saying so long. You guys have a good weekend. Congratulations to everyone who made the playoffs. Better luck next year to those of you who didn't. We'll be back later on.